Bitcoins are only the latest example of innovation in the financial services industry. That controversial currency was just part of the discussion on day 2 of the 2014 Asian Financial Forum in Hong Kong, where the Deloitte workshop also looked at how the industry needs to keep coming up with some fresh ideas.
The financial institution of the future is going to have to be much more agile and much more able to move and shift and change as new things come on stream. And actually being able to do that yourself alone, I think, is going to be very difficult. So my view would be that the future looks like a much more networked world than that unitary, universal banking type world that we've come from.
What we're trying to do, therefore, is give an innovation team enough autonomy, enough space, enough budget to go take some risks. Fail, learn from their failure, and not be punished for the failure, and just try some really new things, but always coming at it from the customer perspective.
We've talked about risk, we've talked about understanding and meeting customer demand, we've talked about taking costs out of the supply chain, as it were, in terms of financial transactions. So this question really focuses on what should players, both new players and established players, in financial services be focusing on and thinking of in order to take advantage of the growth opportunities?
I think that financial institutions that are able to leverage their brand and use their data well certainly can be a player in this game. Absolutely can be a player in this game. You know, I kind of think about this discussion as, you know, before we had the stagecoach led by the horse, and then the car was invented. But a lot of the stagecoach manufacturers who made chassis and who made wheels, they transitioned into the automobile world. And I think that traditional players who are able to understand the technology, who are able to use their data, the truth is it can be done. It's not that hard, right? It's not that hard. But I think the mindset has to be that you attack it.
All of this was fanciful a decade ago, and all of it is a reality now. It's only a question of when we get there. It's not a question of if we get there, because that's the path that we're actually, the technology, enabling technology is there. We just haven't worked out how to use it and how to build it into the business model.
The really interesting thing about Bitcoin is not the value of the Bitcoin or the fact that it's called that. The really interesting thing about virtual currencies is what it enables you to do. We were talking about that before, the homogeneity of payment systems. I think these virtual currencies and the online platforms, to a certain extent, are the financial industry's equivalent of a vote of no confidence in the political world of the banking system. So a lot of these things that are in place now are because people aren't happy with the services they're providing. I think the real story around virtual currencies and the role within this global world is not tax evasion. It's not buying drugs. It's not funding terrorism. The number one currency for any of that is the US dollar, and it's been like that, and that's not going to change. That's what the press likes to tag onto, is what the kind of nefarious aspects of these virtual currencies, but the really interesting aspects is what it enables us to do.
I don't think it is a virtual currency. It doesn't qualify to be a medium of exchange. It is a virtual commodity for a sort of bartering. For those who like Bitcoin, you can exchange Bitcoin for a Ferrari, exchange Bitcoin for a house, a villa in a certain locality, but you are not buying the house from the developer by Bitcoin, or you are not buying the Ferrari from the manufacturer, the car manufacturer, by Bitcoin. So among us here, are you willing to accept Bitcoin as your salary payment?
Virtual currency is something we have to accept. No matter you like it or not, this is happening. And I believe when the Bitcoin now, of course, people look at it as an investment. But once if it is being accepted in the online industry, I think starting as a killing application, more people will find more usage on Bitcoin. So I think that will become more popular. This is like Octopus. When we start Octopus, we started with a killing application, the transportation fare collection system. So once Bitcoin finds a killing application that most of the people will find it easy to use, I think that will fly.